You're crouched at the edge of a forest. Maybe 40,000 years ago, the air smells like wet earth and something animal. You're watching a group move through the valley below. They look almost like you. Almost. Their brows are heavier, their shoulders are wider, their arms could snap yours. They've been here for 300,000 years longer than your kind. They're stronger, better adapted to the cold, and their brains are actually bigger than yours. And within a few thousand years, every last one of them will be gone. There were at least 9 species of human walking this planet. You're descended from the only one that made it. So, like, what exactly did we do that they didn't? Let's set the scene properly, because most people imagine the past wrong. They picture one kind of human alone on a planet, fighting saber-toothed tigers. The truth is stranger and much more crowded. For most of our evolutionary history, Earth was a planet of many humans. Neanderthals owned Europe and Western Asia. Denisovans ranged across Eastern Asia and possibly into Southeast Asian islands. Homo erectus had been around for almost 2 million years, an almost unfathomable run. Homo floresiensis, barely a meter tall, hunted dwarf elephants on the island of Flores. Homo naledi buried their dead deep in South African caves, possibly with ritual. These weren't mindless brutes. They had tools, some had fire, some had culture. Neanderthals made glue from birch bark, which requires carefully controlled heat. They cared for their sick and injured. Skeletons show healed fractures that required months of nursing. They even made art, not abstract scratch marks and painted shells found in Spanish caves. So here's the uncomfortable part. The one species that survived wasn't obviously the best at anything physical. We weren't the strongest or the toughest or the most cold adapted. Today, you walk into a crowded room and instinctively read a dozen faces at once. You adjust your tone, your posture, your story, depending on who's listening. That ability, like that fluid, almost unconscious social calibration, is ancient. And it might be the single thing that saved us. Not muscle, not even raw intelligence, like something weirder. Like our edge was cooperation at a scale no other human species could match. Here's how this actually worked inside the brain, because the hardware matters. Homo sapiens developed something unusual in the prefrontal cortex. Not a bigger brain, a differently wired one. Our prefrontal regions grew more densely connected to the social processing areas. Think of it like this. Same engine size, but better wiring to the wheels. This wiring gave us something cognitive scientists call theory of mind. It's the ability to model what someone else is thinking, even when they're not telling you. Saying, you do this constantly. You can't turn it off. When someone at work says that's fine in a certain tone, you know it's not fine. That's theory of mind working. It's running simulations of other people inside your skull. Neanderthals likely had some version of this, but ours went further. We could think about what someone thinks about what we think. 3, 4, 5 layers deep. Recursive social modeling. This is what lets you play politics, build alliances, and tell stories that move strangers to tears. But there's another piece, and it might be even more important. Language, not just any communication, symbolic, abstract, grammatical language. Other human species almost certainly communicated. They may have had words for danger or food, but sapiens could talk about things that don't exist. Gods. Plans for next season, debts owed by someone who isn't here right now. This sounds trivial. It changed everything, because if you can talk about things that don't physically exist, you can create shared fictions. Shared fictions let strangers cooperate. A Neanderthal band topped out at maybe 15 or 20 closely related individuals. A sapiens network could span 150 people linked by story, trade, and obligation. That number, roughly 150, keeps showing up. It's called Dunbar's number. It's the approximate limit of people you can maintain real social relationships with. Wait, seriously? 150 was our secret weapon against species that had survived ice ages for hundreds of thousands of years? Yes. Because when conflict came, or famine, or climate chaos. We could pool more minds and more hands. We could specialize. One group hunts, another makes tools, another scouts water. No other human species organized like this. Not at this scale, not this flexibly. And now, look where that wiring has landed us. You walk through a city of 8 million people and feel completely alone. Your brain evolved to manage a village. Now it's managing an Instagram feed. That same theory of mind that helped you build alliances, it now builds anxiety. You replay conversations. You predict what people think of you. You model social threats that don't exist. In the same recursive social brain that outcompeted Neanderthals now keeps you up at 3 in the morning. Here's where it gets even more ironic. We won because we could cooperate with strangers through shared myths and stories. Today, those shared stories have become ideologies, brands, and tribal internet wars. The mechanism is identical. The context has gone haywire. We didn't get new software. We're still running the same operating system from the Pleistocene. Your brain treats a mean comment online with the same neurochemistry as a rival tribe approaching your camp. Cortisol floods, heart rate climbs, fight or flight activates over a tweet. And that beautiful capacity for shared fiction, for believing in things we can't see, it's why you also believe in conspiracy theories, market bubbles, and miracle diets. The tool that built civilization is the same tool that builds delusion. Meanwhile, the extinct humans didn't have this problem. Their smaller social worlds probably meant less drama, less anxiety, less existential dread. They just didn't survive the species that did have those traits. It raises a question nobody likes to sit with. Did we outcompete them, or did we just outlast them while they were already struggling? The honest answer is probably both. Climate swings hit everyone, but we adapted faster because we could reorganize faster. We could abandon one strategy and adopt another within a generation. That flexibility was cultural, not genetic. Ideas move faster than DNA. So here's what all of this actually means. You are not the peak of evolution. That's not how evolution works. You're not the best human that ever lived. You're the luckiest. Lucky that your ancestors could gossip, scheme, and tell stories around a fire. Lucky that they could convince a stranger to share meat today for a promise of help tomorrow. Lucky that their brains could hold a map of who owes what to whom. We carry Neanderthal DNA in our cells right now, between 1 and 4%. Some of us carry Denisovan genes that help us breathe at high altitudes. They didn't vanish completely. They're inside us, woven into our genome like ghost notes in a song. We didn't just replace them, we absorbed them, and now we walk around with their inheritance coded into proteins we never think about. Which leads to the strangest realization of all. The thing that made us the last human standing is the same thing that makes us so anxious, so restless, so obsessed with what others think. Our superpower and our curse share the same wiring. We outsocialed every other human species on the planet, and now we can't stop performing for an audience that evolution forgot to remove. Every other human species is gone. We remain. Not because we were the best, because we were the most entangled with each other. And honestly, we still haven't figured out if that's a gift or a trap. You're the last human standing. You're also the most haunted by the crowd.